Welcome to Stay at Home Dads, a podcast.
With your hosts, Drew and Justin, a place where we talk about a lot of guy stuff.
And a little bit of dad stuff too. So kick back, relax, and let's talk.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of Stay at Home Dads podcast. I am Drew, and this is my buddy Justin. Thanks
for everybody. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just holding down the fort and doing some podcasting right now. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. I'm
Absolutely.
excited. So
yeah, dude, this is gonna be a great show. All right, so because this is episode 1, our pilot, so to speak, we are going to talk about why we are stay-at-home dads and basically what we enjoy about it, why it's a lifestyle that we're happy to be a part of. And do you want to start, buddy, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in mine, like I know like your story is much different than mine, but my story is I was a fully employed, I guess. I worked every day. I was a mechanic out in Vegas. I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 girls. One was in school. One was in daycare. My wife had a full-time job. I had a full-time job. And then my wife decided to apply for a job out of state. And we kind of didn't really think that we didn't think she was going to get it. So then it was never really in my mind. Well, all of a sudden, like ball drop. Oh, I got this job in Indiana. We have to move and you have to quit your job.
And all of a sudden it became really fast.
So now all of a sudden, like my normal, going into work at 7:30, getting home at 4 came like crashing down.
Yeah.
And we're moving across the country. So it was kind of like the stay at home dad thing was in a way like forced upon me. Not, I mean, initially a little resentful. Yes. But I have kind of stepped into this role now. I've been doing it for almost 2 years, actually, to the day. And it's good. It's like, I mean, I'm thankful for it. I don't get to say I have to watch my kids. I've been really telling myself that I get to watch my kids. So,
right.
So that's kind of how I ended up in this space. How about you? How did you come to the conclusion that you were going to sit your ass at home and watch a baby?
Well, I have to say, you having done this for like 2 years was kind of, it was nice for me because it showed me that like somebody that I knew and was very close to like is doing this already. So it wasn't like I was the only person of all my friends doing it. So Thank you for that, for being kind of like, the first one. But but for me, I've only been a dad now for coming up on 5 months. My daughter's like 4 months and some change right now. But for us, it was kind of an easy decision because COVID like hit like while my wife was pregnant. Like she had just gotten pregnant and then bam, like COVID hit when she was like 2 months or something. We had like, the year to kind of feel out and think about things. And honestly, we're very blessed because my wife has a law firm that she started and she's very successful right now. And the choice was I could keep working and we'd send my daughter to daycare, but there'd be like the COVID risk plus a stranger dealing with your baby, or I could quit my job, which my wife can still like support, support us without that job.
Yeah.
Because if I kept working, I feel like the majority of my paycheck honestly would have gone to just like childcare. So
yeah, like childcare is like, I mean, it could be anywhere from $200 a week, which is cheap as all hell, or it's I think there's some here that are like $300 or $400 a week, for 5 days a week, and it's just like that. It's just crazy,
Yeah. So I mean, I just feel really blessed because it was a no-brainer when my wife was like, would you be willing to stay at home because it'd be better for our daughter and I can afford to have us do it? I was like, hell yeah. Like there's no question. I mean, I did feel like a little bit of hesitation just because, I think every man kind of takes a little bit of their self-worth and pride from their professional life and like making a living and bringing home money. But at the same time, if I could ensure my daughter's safety, make sure that she's getting enough attention, like being treated really well, like, good care, like, dude, I would much rather be the one doing that all day than like a stranger. So
Right. Yeah, I think that's like a hard thing for a lot of guys, is like this source of like pride, as like, I'm the breadwinner. I'm like, I am providing for my family, and I'm
mhm.
going off to my job and I'm going to work, and it's
Yeah.
it takes quite a, it is an adjustment too. Like, dude, like the first time, so when we finally, I quit my job, we moved across country, and I'm sitting here, and then my wife's like getting ready to leave for like the first day or first week, and I was legit, I was like scared. I was like,
To be home alone with the
oh my,
kids.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh boy, like
Yeah.
what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
what do I do with my hands? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, but you come around, and you like, you have, even in this past 5 months, you've seemed like you know what in the hell you're doing. It's,
Yeah.
you
It's
get
weird.
you get into a zone, you get
Hmm.
comfortable, you understand your kid, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy is, yeah, like when it was first happening, uh, I almost went through like a little bit of depression where I don't know what it was coming from, but it was just like this weird, like, loss of identity, or kind of like, or maybe just
Hmm.
like a transitional like period of my identity from
Right.
being like, I was a federal security officer. So what my job was basically, I had a camera room that I worked in a building downtown Denver where I just watched cameras. But I felt very like prideful of that. Like I would tell people, you know, like, yeah, like I'm a federally contracted security officer.
Yeah.
It made me feel good about what I was
Yeah, it's like
doing.
a title, like, hey,
Hmm.
like, this is,
Hmm.
and it's it
Yeah.
makes you feel good, like, oh, I'm a manager, I'm a supervisor in a mechanic shop, like, I oversee people, like, yeah, ooh, that sounds really nice. And then
Yeah.
now, even now, I don't know if you've experienced this, like I have, where people are like, oh, hey man, like, I meet new people, and they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, but
But
I stay at home with my kids. And they kind of look at me. They kind of like, I feel
yeah.
like they don't notice they do it, but I notice it. I feel like there's like that little hesitation, and then they're
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, like, okay, like,
Yeah.
that's, like, I feel like that it's weird, but it's
Yeah.
like they're not saying anything else. They're like, oh, okay, like,
Yeah.
weirdo, like, you hang out with kids all day, like, I
Nah.
don't know. And I don't know if people think that or
Yeah.
not, but you get at this complex though, where you're just
Hmm.
like, oh, but I have all these judging eyes on me, like all these
Yeah.
professional men around me looking at
Yep.
me, that I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm worthless and blah blah blah.
Right.
And then you, like you said, you get kind of into that little depression,
Yep.
and
Well, what's weird is when I first told my grandparents, you know, like our grandparents are from a different generation. And
mhm,
I felt a little weird telling them at first because, like, when my grandparents were coming up, my grandfather was definitely the breadwinner and my grandmother stayed home with the kids. So when I was telling them that, like, here's the thing though, my wife actually has always made more money than me. So it makes sense that I'm the one that would stay home. Right.
yeah, mine too, yeah.
Right. And like, I think you and I, so here's the thing, like, even before we decided to be stay at home dads, like, we had to come to terms with the fact that we weren't like making as
Yeah,
much as our significant others were.
we
And
were
some
not
guys,
the providers of the family, like, yeah.
right. And some guys can't deal with that. And I think that's sad because I didn't look at that as like, oh, that's a bad thing. I looked at it as,
Right.
that's awesome. My wife makes awesome money.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
you know, I don't know why. It's a pride thing if you can't appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
It's a pride thing. It almost goes back to like, almost like, I mean, you could dive into like gender equality, or like, I don't know, what do they call that? I don't know. Like,
Feminism, or like,
yeah, where like, oh, like, you're a woman, you shouldn't make more money than me. Like, I mean, that's a
yeah,
rabbit hole we could go down at another time, but like,
yeah.
and I don't know where I was going with that thought. I kind of lost my train,
Well,
but
yeah, but like there was a whole misogynistic thought surrounding like men should be like the breadwinners. So when
that's
I was
what I was
talking,
thinking of. Okay.
right, so when I was talking to my grandparents, like, I don't know if my grandmother was judging me or has like a mild form of kind of like dementia, like, whatever happens in old age. But every
Yeah.
time I would talk to her, I told her the last time, I'm like, hey grandma, like, yeah, I'm being a stay-at-home dad now. You know, I'm taking care of my daughter because COVID and it makes more sense. And then every time I call, she'd be like, so are you back to work yet? And I'm like, are
You're just
you
like, yes,
like,
yes, grandma. Yep, I'm working.
Yeah.
Just
So
don't
like,
tell her what your working is. And if your working is staying with the
yeah.
kids and doing laundry and making
So
beds and
so
whatever.
I couldn't tell if she was like messing with me or if she was like that was her passive aggressive way of judging me for not like being the breadwinner. But finally, like she accepted it recently. Like I talked to her and she was like, you know, she very much like was saying, "Oh, how's it going? Like being a stay-at-home dad?" And like I was like, "Okay, she gets it now." And she's
Mhm.
not asking me if I'm going back to work. Like I don't know if my grandfather worked with her or if they just, but it was fine.
You finally like repeated yourself enough that you broke her down and she was like, "Oh, fine, he's
Yeah,
not going back to work." Like,
I don't know what that was, but I'm not going to dwell on it. But that's another story. But anyway, yeah. So she's cool with it now, and they both get it. And she even kind of like repeated back to me. She's like, "Yeah, it just makes more sense with like." COVID right now and like daycare and stuff. And I was like, yes, you get it. So
there you go,
there you
grandma.
go,
Like,
grandma.
it's like there you now you got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
it's I mean, I feel like you said, you kind of touched on it earlier too, like where's the money going? Like,
mm-hmm,
you know, okay, so we work, we have our pride,
right.
um, but then we're spending how many thousands in daycare, and then
Mm-hmm,
someone else is raising our kids, and then I feel like this was like a good time for me at least to like kind of sit back
mm-hmm.
and more like enjoy like the little things and enjoy
Yeah.
like these little moments with my kids and like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to them, the whole world is new, and it's kind of cool to get their take on like,
Yeah.
because before I'd be like, I would get home from work, I would leave, in the morning, I would get them up, and then I would be out the door by 7:30. So I would like have breakfast with them, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
be gone,
Yeah.
and then
All day.
I would get home by 5 o'clock, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would like me and my wife would kind of hustle through, cook dinner, and then by 7 or 7:30, they're winding down, getting ready for bed. So there's there's 2.5 hours
Mm-hmm.
that I would see them like maybe
Yeah.
3 hours a day, and
Yeah.
now I get to spend I mean, yeah,
Oh,
some
dude.
days are freaking difficult, but
No, I get it. I get it. And like even during the hard days, like I still cherish like all these moments that I get with my little one where so she's 4 months now and she's actually starting to really appreciate songs. Well, I never really thought about like, well, what kind of kid songs do I know? So I started thinking back to like when I was little, like all the shows I used to watch on TV. So I've been singing like DuckTales, Chippendales Rescue Rangers. I looked up like the Winnie the Pooh adventure, the new adventures of Winnie the Pooh, like, and I've been like going through and like actually like looking up the lyrics and like listening to it. And then like while I'm changing her diaper, I'll sing her like these songs from like DuckTales and stuff. And she loves it. She's getting into it. She's like kicking her
that's
feet and
awesome.
smiling. So
And that's stuff that like I mean, you may have gotten a little bit of that as being a working parent, but like now you may not have like you may
mm-hmm,
not have thought to like or had the time to go
mm-hmm.
look up some lyrics on a song and do this or do that and then have that type of moment with your kids. So
Dude, the next step is
that's pretty important.
the next the next step is I'm actually gonna like learn how to really play them. And then I could
Nice.
dude, that'd be sick. Like if I could learn DuckTales on guitar and actually play it for her, she'd love that. So that's oh dude, then I'll release like a kids album that's all just like Disney
There
like
you go.
cartoons. Yeah.
You like Charlie Harper
Yeah.
jingles.
Oh, so anyway. Yeah. Um
Have you gotten into anything like not to get into the weeds, but like have you felt like you've gotten into anything else as a being staying at home more and like are you doing more of the grocery shopping now? Do you find you doing more like cleaning around your house? Are
mhm.
you doing more of the cooking, like stuff like
Yep.
those aspects? Have you kind of taken over more of that role in your house as well?
Absolutely. So I do all the meal prep. I do all the grocery shopping. I take out the trash. I do some cleaning in the house. I feed the dogs. I make sure they have water. I water the plants. Basically, like anything that's like upkeep. Like I
That
am like the caretaker of the home now. Like
you're
that's
that guy. That's nice.
but that's it gives me like purpose and like when I can actually when she comes out of she has an office in her house and when she comes out and like sees like the kitchen all clean, there's
Mm-hmm.
like new food cooked in the fridge just like she likes,
It's
um
nice. You get to see like you get some appreciation from your spouse or whatever, and be like,
yeah,
oh, like hey, you did this or you did that, and that feels good too. Like you like to make your wife happy
yeah.
and get some kudos for doing good things.
I will say this though, there is no day off and like I didn't really anticipate that because I noticed like over the weekend it was like maybe like Sunday night it was getting kind of late and I was tired And I was like, oh my God, we're out of food. I was like, crap, she's gonna need food tomorrow. So like I stayed up super late making like mashed potatoes, and like I cooked like some steak and stuff and cut it all up. And you know what I mean? Like I cooked some
Yeah.
vegetables because I knew like she was gonna need that for lunch the next day. And I was like, oh crap, the trash is coming. So like there is every single day, like Monday through Friday.
There's something.
I am a stay-at-home dad. I don't actually go to a
Yeah.
job now, but I never leave my job. Like I'm always on the clock to some degree.
Right. And it's like, you might get like an hour, like, and I don't want to like crap on our spouses or anything, but like, and I'm not saying they take us for granted or anything, but sometimes they'll be like, oh, I got the kids, I'm taking them to the park, or I'm going to go do this with them. So you do whatever you want for like the next like 2 or 3 hours. And it's like, what, like for 2 or 3 hours, it's not like you get a weekend off, but
yeah, so it's just interesting because you got to like figure out how to like, where is your like free time? So like it could be a whole nother show, but basically I think what we were trying to say today was that we enjoy being stay-at-home dads. It's definitely a lifestyle that I think we weren't really sure about at first, but now I think we're glad we both chose. And if there's any other stay-at-home dads out there watching this, we would love to hear any comments or like advice that you found that helps you with your stay-at-home dad life. And
is there is it a book, something, article, that maybe helps, has some good information in it, that's got some good tips for doing A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
I love it. I do. I can actually say, I'm kind of surprising, but I can actually say that I love it. Like I do really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've learned how to like cook. Like I would never cook before. Like I learned how to cook, like whip up like pretty decent food. Like I feel like it's kind of badass. So, I feel like I've found, kind of myself a little bit,
I've been following your Instagram and I've been seeing some stuff you're cooking, and you're putting me to shame. So you're like making my wife feel like, hey, Justin's cooking this stuff. Where's my good stuff? Like, because I cook very basic. It's like a meat, like a vegetable, and I do like rice or potato. You know what I mean? Like you're getting
your carb, groups, your protein, your vegetable.
You're getting your bare minimum though. Like there's no fancy schmancy, like special,
some toasted sesame seeds.
Yeah, some toast. No, it's you can season it with whatever you want. But yeah, so we're going to continue to pop on here every Monday with advice for dads that are stay at home, and even dads that aren't stay at home. Like we'd love to help you guys out too. And if you guys could give us tips, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we're just going to, we'll continue to talk about fun topics and different things and things around a dad, a man, guys, like we're going to get into a lot of different things. So.
We're going to get into it because there's a lot to talk about, and his daughters are like a little bit older than mine. So what's nice is we have like a little age range. Like I'm still dealing with the 4-month-old age. Yep. He's got your daughter. One of them's in school.
Three and a half and 6.5. So I've got a nice, the three of us, the three kids have a nice spread of, experiences, from a 6-year-old down to a baby. So,
So we look forward to seeing you guys on a regular basis. And you got anything else, buddy? Or is that
no, I think that's it. That was a pretty good episode 1. I'm happy. So
it can only get better. It can only get better, right? So if it sucks, sorry about that.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
All right, that's our show. Thanks for watching Stay at Home Dads.
You know the drill, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Hit that like button. Subscribe.
We'll catch you on the flip side.